this morning. Because
the queues in this axis are miles long.
It's not funny. Anyone coming from Lagos towards outward Lagos now, you may have a tad bit of work on your hands, because the queues are on the road, literally. And in fact, I need to say this, Alero. Very few places in Lagos would you have a situation where the fuel stations paid attention to how the queues affected other road users.
In other words, very few stations have orderly queues.
Thank you. I think that just summarizes it. There is one, on your way back from the island, just before Estate Bus Stop in Lagos here. It's always one queue, always one line. The one closer to Berger Bus Stop you get, the more unruly it gets. In fact, the one that delayed you, that made you come a little late, later than you normally do, because you come about an hour or so before the program, more than an hour before the program starts. They have 3 queues. They have 3 queues at the time.
So how do they expect the other road users to move? Well, there's no thought for the other man.
How many lanes be the road going to safe? So they had 3 lines of queues, and then there are still others trying to put their heads right at the gate. Meanwhile, there is only one vehicle that can go in at a time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it is something that we can speak to the what do we call them now? The fuel stations to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, hey.
Was it not DSS that gave an ultimatum of 48 hours last week?
Yes, DSS. Okay. Well,
all right.
When we spoke with Mr. Ejiofor, he said it wasn't a threat. So it was an ultimatum. It's not a threat, it's an advisory.
Advice? Okay. All right.
We take it.
Okay, we stand corrected. We stand corrected.
But I said to him, hey, bros, it sounds like a threat to me, because an ultimatum, 48 hours.
Well, talking about, this is not an ultimatum, but it's something akin to, Senate orders CBN to increase cash withdrawal limits. That was one of the headlines this week. And I'm wondering, okay, so does the CBN now report to Senate? Or how is it that Senate can give CBN an order?
Alero, I find one of the things that I find very interesting is our job as journalists. You see the editor? Oh, God. Very, very... please, for a second, go back to the 90s, the post-1993 June 12 annulment. The kind of headlines. That was the first time I heard the word impasse. The kind of headlines that came up. You hated the government. You just hated government. But looking at it, for God's sake, was it the BOFIA Act, the CBN Act, or the Money Laundering Prevention and Control Act that says that CBN can be ordered? Not even the president who appointed can order.
Well, the CBN has been ordered.
I think it was more of an advice.
But it was interesting. Appeal. It was interesting all week listening to all the various angles to this and watching the debate on the floor of the National Assembly. It gave me the impression that, okay, 500,000, that is chicken change. Everybody earns 500,000 in Nigeria, or more. So, how can you ask us to withdraw only 100,000 in a week? And you're talking about a country where 133 million live under the poverty line, meaning that 133 people don't eat 2 meals a day.
133 million people, because you forgot to put the million. And
sorry.
Multidimensional.
Million don't eat 2 meals a day.
Multidimensional. Some of them don't have homes to live in. Some of them have no access to health. Some of them have no access to school. Some of them have no food to
and the argument becomes 20,000 naira is too little to spend a day. How many people even have 200 naira to spend in a day?
sometimes it depends on what side of the divide. That's the impression that you get sometimes. It just kind of sometimes depends on what side of the divide you are looking at this issue from. An analyst who came, he's been here, once before, Gada Akpochi, who was speaking yesterday, was saying like, in how many people said, in fact, he quoted a script, what's it called, a data from the banking industry or the finance industry that more than 90% of bank account holders in Nigeria have far less than 10% of account holders in Nigeria. And one of the questions that came to my mind actually was, okay, are they corporate accounts or private accounts? But we didn't get, because there's so many issues to raise.
I can identify with that.
For me, and I'm thankful that we're going to be talking about that today, the authorities who are in charge need to educate Nigerians on what this whole thing is about. That education on very many policies of government have been absent for a long time.
Hey, where are you again?
I always reference the Babangida government, where the MAMSA came from.
MAMSA was active.
That MAMSA became NOA.
Yeah.
So government is hell-bent on doing it. Whether or not we're going to do it, that's not in question. The how is what you will debate. And there's been never been any issue with that. So let government at various levels, the CBN, the bankers committee, whoever they are, should come out with information to educate people about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because there are those who believe, for instance, that this whole thing is targeted at certain segments of the nation, politicians are targets and all of that. With private conversation with Mr. Akpoji was saying, look, how can you say it's targeting politicians? Because if you say it's targeting politicians, essentially you are saying that politicians are criminals. And as far as it's concerned, politicians are not criminals.
Well, and some also say it's targeting criminals. Kidnappers.
I don't know about that one. Okay, well did you hear that?
Ransom.
Yes.
Ransom money.
They say that some of them say...
You don't do ransom via transfer. You give them Ghana must go, from what we have seen and heard.
So that education needs to go around, that people need to be informed and adequately educated about this whole thing. Otherwise, we're just going to be, pandering around the issues. So long as people have adequate information, I believe they're good to go.
Yeah, and all these attacks on INEC offices, I think for many Nigerians is becoming very, very worrisome. And it's got to a point.
Very worrisome.
It's got to a point now where we have to turn every INEC office in every hamlet like into a Fort Knox. Electric fence and everything. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. I think for me, again, back to your NOA question, the sense of patriotism does not exist in most Nigerians. If we had that sense of... Some people would say, do you blame them? What has Nigeria done for them?
It's valid. It's a valid argument. I understand it perfectly. But at the end of the day, we do not have any other place. I mean, that's just the way it is. We don't have any other... If you shipped 200 million Nigerians out of Nigeria to bring another set of people in, where are you going to shift these Nigerians to? Now, look, let's imagine for a second that you want to overpopulate Nigeria, bring all Americans to Nigeria, take all Nigerians to...
We will turn America into Nigeria in no time.
So it's that sense of patriotism that we need. It's what we take. But however, Alero, how come when any Nigerian, most Nigerians, leave the shores of Nigeria,
they're angling to come back.
They go to any other part of the world, they are performing like magicians.
Yeah.
They are excellent in medicine, in teaching, in whatever it is. And then
in 419, whatever it is they're doing, they're the best at it.
You come back home and then
you can't fix your country.
So it's worrisome.
Nigeria is blessed with talent. That is why it is so painful that we find ourselves in a country like this. With all the talent that we have, what are we doing with all that talent? Yet we go elsewhere and we excel.
We always do.
Come on, guys. Come on. It's time for us to start fixing this country.
One of the things that I will advise.
It's time. It's time.
Talking about being time, 2023 is that time where we will select another set of leaders for the country. Oh, by the way, speaks to a collection of PVCs. I went to try to get mine over the course. I think it was yesterday. I tried to go to get mine. Was it yesterday before yesterday?
No, day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday. I went there and it was like, we're not answering people like you now who are brand new jambites, so to speak, getting cards for the first time. We're looking for people who are transferring or need replacement and all those things.
What's the window for collection anyway? From 12th to...
Until, I think, January 22.
Oh, okay.
Next year. So come back after Christmas. Okay, right. I will most certainly go after Christmas. After all.
And come and show us your card.
Oh, I most certainly will. After all, the president has said he wants to bequeath to the nation a legacy in our electoral system. By the way, today is the president's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
He's just 10 years older than you are. No. It's just. Oh, you're trying to do the math? Oh,
no, I'm not. I know exactly how old I am. Thank you. I don't need to do any math regarding my age. Many happy returns to our president. Well,
where's the cake?
Well, I was just smiling to ask. I wanted to ask that nicely with a smile on my face.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead. I hereby withdraw mine.
Yeah, Mr. President, we are expecting our cake. Thank you very much.
Would that be
many happy returns?
That'd be the national cake.
I had to say that nicely.
In other words, anything else you say will be nice. Okay.
Our menu for this morning.
Oh, okay. You're saying the president should send the menu as well? Oh, okay, the menu for the program.
Yes, CBN's revised cash withdrawal limit policy. Cash withdrawal policy.
Okay.
Oh my God. Never mind.
And then, we've talked about this for a bit. Let's talk a little further on it, and that's safe travels. What do we need to do? By the way, shout out to my colleagues who are celebrity special marshals. Right now, they are trying to extend their hand of love to some Nigerians somewhere in Ikeja.
Oh, that's good. That's
good.
I
wish I would have been there.
Well,
anyway,
Nigerians must always move around. So, in spite of all the things we're hearing, people are still traveling. In fact, the road was very crowded coming here this morning.
Yeah, I know why. I thought we talked about that.
Yeah, well. And after that, we'll be looking at lifestyle. Work out why and how.
Some people always get it wrong.
People are always going to the gym.
Remember what the cardiologist is that? No.
Yeah.
That the man from orthopedic hospital.
Okay.
The orthopedic surgeon told us.
Yeah.
About how you bend to pick things from the ground.
Yes. You bend your knees so you don't strain your back.
Not stoop down.
Even though he says you stoop to conquer.
And of course, we'll be dealing with the artist of the week as well to close out the program today. Who will that be? A he or a she or a
shim, according to you.
Okay. Why are you trying to find out about that?
Okay.
Yes. You found it. You don't know yet.
No, I don't know.
All right, stick with us.
It's a human being, and he's an artist, and he's going to be with us, and it is going to be with us.
Let's take a break.
See you in a bit.
Recalibrating.
You are too committed to leave me. Oh Jesus, you are too consistent to leave me halfway. Yeah. What you start, you always finish. Lord, I've come to realize that you are too faithful to fail me. You start, you always finish. Lord, I'm here to testify. You're too faithful to fail.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I mean, understandably, we're starting today's program by discussing the CBN's revised cash withdrawal policy.
We're starting with money.
We're starting with money.
Because there's going to be a lot of spending this week as we build up to Christmas, which is next week.
Well, fortunately, that policy is not in effect yet, so we can do all the spending that we want. We can go to the you can go to the bank and withdraw $1 million
Let's
if
talk
you
about
want.
money first.
For now.
Yeah,
for now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's from January 9th, isn't it?
We'll get more about it. Don't.
Anyway, the person who has all the facts is here. The Director of Banking Supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Mustapha Haruna. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And good morning, dear viewers.
So this little argument here.
Yes.
All the spending that we have to do for Christmas, we can go and withdraw as we like now, can't we?
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
But we haven't been able to get new notes in our banks.
Well, it is the process began sometime last week, and we are building up. A lot has been done, especially from the 15th to yesterday. So it's a process in the build-up to the cutover date. We expect that the new notes will permeate everywhere, and Nigerians will have sufficient cash, the new notes to spend.
But the expectation was that since the announcement was that from 15th, at least some people will have a little bit of access to it, in some various parts of the country. We actually went to town. We went to the ATMs and we tried to get many, unless there are some who have. If you have, please, share with us on Twitter right now.
By the way, Mr. Haruna himself hasn't come with any new notes.
No,
he doesn't have any new notes. Sorry, I had to just... So if anybody's belly aching that they have not been able to get the new notes at the ATM, they shouldn't worry about it, because even CBN, he doesn't have any, so relax.
No, I won't say...
It'll get to you.
It's his job to not have. It's my job to have. So you can give us an understanding how it works. What are the expectations? There are 36 states in the country, and what the CBN governor had told us was that, look, these things are already in various states all over the nations.
In the various banks.
Yes, indeed, that is correct. But the logistical challenge of distributing this currency is quite huge. Like I said, we started. Don't forget when the governor made the announcement of the cashless policy. We indicated that the 15th of December will be the date, but we started much earlier. And right now, as I speak to you, the new notes have been distributed across Nigeria. But I mean, it takes time for it to really, for the banks to, dispense to customers, for them to be able to configure their ATMs to be able to dispense the cash. So it is, a process. And like I said, we are building up as we, in the run up to the cutover date, the new notes will be everywhere. And don't forget, the new note is circulating side by side with the existing one. So not a problem in terms of Nigerians.
But you know very well, Mr. Haruna, that many people want who wants the old one?
When I can spend new ones. Yes.
You soon have the new ones. Yeah, words of it.
Yeah, Mr. Haruna, there's been all kinds of reasons adduced for, first of all, the change of the notes, or the change of color, as some people would like to describe it, as well as the withdrawal policy. All kinds of reasons have been adduced by different sections of society. But let us hear from the horse's mouth. What is the reason for these two actions?
Okay. Thank you for these questions, which is very, very important, and I think it is important that we lay this foundation. I will take us back to the fountainhead where it all started. In 2012, we commenced the cashless policy with a limited rollout across some states. I think 7 states, including the FCT. So we took those baby steps just to test the waters. Now, 2012, fast forward to 2022.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. We believe significant traction have been made. We've seen a very appreciable, progress in terms of the maturity of our payment system. And we believe this is the right time for us to go forward with the nationwide rollout of the cashless policy. And don't forget, cash management, which is one of the key functions of the Central Bank of Nigeria, comes at a very huge cost. The naira you spend, you won't believe it, to process it, to print it. Going from the printing, distribution, processing, the cost is quite humongous.
Mr. Arole,
Yeah.
this thing that you've just talked about,
Yes.
I think people need a lot more understanding of it.
Sure.
Why? Because as far as Nigerians are concerned, we only want to see the fruit. We don't care really how the tree grows, processes all the nutrients that go into the tree from the roots and all. We don't care. We just want to see the fruits. We want to just get to the banks and be able to collect our cash. Talk us through these humongous costs, logistics, and operations that go into this, so that people can be able to appreciate the work that the CBN does and perhaps understand when things don't go the way they expect.
Yes, so that was the build-up I was trying to make, that now that, on the 26th of October, when the governor announced the currency change, and having regards to the progress that have been made, especially in the phenomenal transformation of the Nigerian payment system to where it is today, we believe we shouldn't have a throwback, to the, old regime where we spend a fortune, printing and processing and circulating and distributing, cash. And don't forget also, in the context of an evolving digital economy, cash is antiquated. You go to some countries like Sweden, they have a date, total zero cash by 2023. The world is moving. We have to join that, global train. We cannot be left at the train station, and that is why we feel this is a veritable opportunity for us to make that forward movement with the nationwide rollout of the cashless policy. Especially when you consider the enormous benefits of going cashless. And like I said, the existing situation is not sustainable. It's not fit for current realities.
Why not?
Well, for the reasons that I mentioned, one, the cost of currency management, and the associated, issues with, holding cash, security, corruption, money laundering, the entire gamut. With cashless, it is, more or less like a one, fix-all medicine that will cure a number of these ills, all to the benefit, of our, financial system and economy. And when you consider the efficiency, in terms of the time it will take you to consummate a transaction using cash, and compare that with what the time you will use to consummate an electronic, transaction. It is as clear as night and day.
But Mr. Haruna, sorry to take you back a bit. You mentioned Sweden, and I'm sure there are many other countries that you would like to mention as well, who have gone more or less cashless. But you cannot put Nigeria in the same basket as any of those people, because they have had digital platforms. They've had technology longer than we have. So we can't boast of the same level as they are in terms of technology. You try to make a transfer in Nigeria, it may take you the whole day. So I am standing in front of a merchant and I want to purchase something. I transfer the money the first time, it doesn't go. And I'm standing there for 1 hour trying to transact this one business because of technological setbacks.
Good point. So in the endeavor to go cashless, we're not unmindful of some of the challenges that you just highlighted. But as I speak to you, there are efforts, so many moving parts, aimed at addressing a number of the associated challenges that would arise. Typically, the issue of infrastructure. Just yesterday, I attended a program here in Lagos centered around, addressing some of these issues. And not too long ago, the Bankers Committee had a retreat here in Lagos, and we continue to, meet, to work behind the scenes to see what we can do, working in collaboration with other critical stakeholders to address all these, gamut of issues. So rest assured, we are not unmindful of these issues, and, having come this far, we believe the only way to go is for us to make, progress. And we'll continue to take these issues in our stride as they come. But we are working in cahoots with all critical stakeholders to ensure that we address these issues.
Does it then in any way, my apologies for butting in, validate for you or for the authorities the concern people raise about going cashless while we have these technological bottlenecks? Take the instance, for instance, of a Musa or a Haliu in faraway Zamfara or wherever, trying to transact business of cattle ranging up to, say, 1.5 million or so in some remote place where network may not be as strong as 3G, and the transfer needs to be made. So, and they have that kind of bottleneck. Clearly, business cannot really
proceed
as it would be expected. If the CBN and the authorities are mindful of these issues, how urgently can it be addressed such that by the terminal date of January 22 or January 9th?
January 9th.
January 9th, I mean, the cutoff is actually something that technology available can sustain.
Yes, so it's a very valid scenario you've painted, and that is why in the circular we issued, we said in compelling circumstances, should you need more than the limits set, these are the conditions you need to fulfill. But in any case, we've seen an exponential growth in the agent networks around Nigeria. The agents are quite ubiquitous. There's hardly any nook or cranny in Nigeria that you go, you won't see one agent outlet or the other, where they do cash in, cash out, services. So such, customers can take advantage of those, services. But, to your point around maybe the quantum of naira such a customer will need, of course, this is an evolutionary process. We will get there, and if you have such, need for, high volume of cash, you can always go to your bank and say, look, this is my business, and they will be able to,
and you pay the commissions that you have to pay, of course.
Well, in the spirit of the cashless policy, we feel we need to, and like I told you, don't forget also, this harks back to what I mentioned about the high cost of, currency management, and for the need for us to reduce, the use of cash. Of course, this is not something we started, yesterday. We started, like I said, since 2012, and we had some, charges that you have to pay, although the revised limits and charges are different from what we had, So this is not something new. We feel we should, take things to a high level if we must, make progress. Again, in line with global trends.
Mr. Arole, you mentioned the agents.
Yes.
We have heard that they are actually an endangered species. I am sure you're referring to those POS operators.
What? I don't know where you got that phrase, endangered species, from, but from the way we see it, they are
even
not
on the floor of the Senate, they were saying that you were taking jobs from POS operators.
Not at all.
I'm sure you heard that.
Yes.
Good.
So we are monitoring, the ongoing debate. We are, monitoring, the discourse, but let me just correct an impression. Not in any way are they endangered. And that is why we made that provision. Should you need cash? When you do the numbers, how much does a typical agent outlet need in a day? So you ask that question. So I mean, people need to just see this as, a policy that is intended at, contributing to economic growth and development. And when Nigerians know the enormous benefits inherent in this policy, I'm very sure it will shift mindsets. It is typical, when you introduce something new, there is always that trepidation and apprehension. But that's why we are also combining it with extensive and, sustained, campaigns and sensitization just to, ensure that Nigerians understand what is at play, what is involved, and what is in it for them.
Just to be clear, when you talk about introduction of technology for, the cashless policy, you're talking about transfers from your phone, the POSs, and there's another one you get. Just give us a list of those outlets so people understand.
So we have an array of outlets. You have mobile payments. I mean, we have, mobile phones. The world over, we have well over 5.3 billion mobile phones. And so, given these, massive, number, it is therefore not, out of place to layer financial services on, mobile phones. That is one option. You also have, a USSD, which is, more, a very popular, option, especially for, rural, poor folks, very, very, user-friendly. And we recently also launched the e-Naira, which is an addition to the array of, cashless options that folks have to be able to use, and of course, internet banking, and the list goes on and on. But it is important to highlight the fact that we are not eliminating cash. We are not eliminating cash. We are just, reducing, the amount of cash that Nigerians use, for transactions. And I have just mentioned one or two benefits of, going cashless, especially in the context of a digital economy. I mean, that is the way to go. There are some countries I was just, reading somewhere in one of the Nordic countries, they have public toilets and you have to pay. So imagine a situation where you are pressed and you have to go and do your thing. If you don't have, and you don't accept cash, so what do you do? So, and Nigerians are well traveled all over the world, and we go outside, we see, these trends all over. So why not replicate same here? In Kenya here, our continental neighbor, the Kenyans have this penchant for, cashless payments. So why not here? So, I mean, we just have to move on. We cannot be stuck in one place when the world is moving. You look at the typical, the way, a train gets off to a slow start so that at least you can catch the train when it starts moving. We shouldn't wait until when it is, it has gathered speed before we say we want to jump when it will be too late.
Just to be clear, this policy does not affect deposits.
Does not affect?
Deposits.
Okay. No.
Just withdrawal.
Withdrawal, yes.
So I'm looking at it in the context of a trader who receives a lot of cash, in any part of the country and has to go deposit the money in the bank. There is no cutoff, no limit whatsoever to the amount you can deposit in the bank.
So let me just make this very clear. You remember on the 26th of October when the governor announced the currency redesign, he clearly stated that all deposits should come in, and so we are waiving the charges on deposits. So that is the extant policy. And so by the 31st of January, we cut over to the new currency regime. At this point in time, that is the state of things. Whether it will change, it is premature for me to mention at this point in time, but suffice it to say that there is no charge on deposits. And our circular issued recently, introducing the revised limits, is also very, very clear for Nigerians to read and understand its content.
Some people are wondering why there is a cutoff date, a specific date for the non-use of the old currency. They are suggesting that both could be used over maybe 6 months or 1 year, and then you withdraw the old ones altogether. Is there any merit in that suggestion?
So this is not the first time we are doing, a currency change. If our history is in any guide, in the 80s we did the same thing, and so this is nothing new. But in any case, we believe that the period given is sufficient for Nigerians, to hearken, to the CBN, announcement and go to their banks. We have bank branches all over the country. What does it take? It doesn't require forever for you to be able to do that. So, I really cannot wrap my head around why, people more time. There's sufficient time, and I think Mr. President also echoed a similar position.
Perhaps one of the challenges is that people think that they haven't had, sometimes government policies or policies from authorities such as yours seem to just come to people suddenly. No build up to, okay, this is coming and all of that. I mean, you talked about the cashless policy being on for more than 10 years. People got so used to it, well, those who got so used to it, because it's like, hey, it really isn't, a big deal. But to know that at some point this kind of policy would come, perhaps some kind of build-up would have helped them to own it before it lands on them.
Yes. So, there can never be, in human affairs, there can never be, a perfect, what is perfect time to you may not be perfect to me. Perfection is a divine attribute. So what and all, let's run with this policy for the benefits that I've just highlighted. Yes, there are bound to be, issues here and there. We are not ready. There is no, there is need for time for more consultations. We are taking all this in our stride. We are monitoring. We are taking in all the comments, and we will evaluate them and see whatever needs to be done to be able to make it, more, friendly for Nigerians. But we are not in any way trying to, make life difficult, for Nigerians. It's all in the interest of everyone.
To make life easier.
How do you respond to those who say that this CBN policy is actually targeted at certain classes of people, e.g. politicians, coming at a time when we are preparing for the elections?
So we've always maintained that...
I'm sure you've heard that before, just by the way.
Well, we've had them. We've had all manner of comments. Let us take politics out of this well-intentioned policy. And it will be very grossly unfair to impute political motives to what the central bank, has done and is trying to do. As far as this policy is concerned, no discrimination, no special favors. We are not there to kowtow to anybody or any interest. We are not under any pressure. We are not there to, advance the political interest of anyone. So this is in the ordinary discharge of our statutory responsibility. And so Nigerians should see it from that standpoint. We are just doing our job, which we have continued to, we have been doing, consistent with our, statutory remit, to, promote economic growth and development. And you've seen what we have done over the years, all in the interest of, Nigerians. We are a people-centered central bank. Our strategy mantra is to, we are, Nigeria-centric, in the way we do our policies and, initiatives. So let us take it and look at it from that standpoint. And there are jurisdictional nuances. Some central banks around the world have different, focus. For us, the Nigerian is the centerpiece of our policies.
Just a quick one, Alera, just to let you know. Emmanuel Mohammed says he has the new Naira note. I spent some yesterday. God bless Nigeria.
And God bless Emmanuel too.
The Senate, National Assembly has advised a revision of these limits. The governor was supposed to have been at the Senate on Thursday. I didn't follow to see if he was, and if he was there, what is the CBN looking at? What is it considering? Is it considering looking at this policy all over again and changing those figures, tweaking them here and there?
So let me say that the central bank, as a law-abiding institution, has enormous respect, the highest respect for the institution of the legislature, the National Assembly. And like I mentioned, we are monitoring, and taking all this feedback from the public and other, stakeholders. The governor will naturally, obey the invitation of the National Assembly. So as far as we're concerned, we are monitoring the situation, and we remain flexible. Like I mentioned, we are not in any way trying to make life difficult, for Nigerians. We are taking all these comments in our stride and looking at, so of course, if the situation, at the appropriate time, if there is need to make tweaks here and there, this is all options are on the table.
Just a quick one on the benefits. I believe that part of the benefits would be to ensure that the small businesses in particular thrive, because unless that segment of the economy, is thriving the way they ought to thrive, CBN will have a lot more work to do in terms of making sure that the economy thrives as expected. How would you say that this policy, this cash withdrawal policy, helps small businesses to grow?
So I just, hinted, I just highlighted one or two benefits. So, but to your point, in terms of how would it help small, businesses, there are empirical studies that establish the nexus between economic growth, financial inclusion and economic growth. The more you corral people who are outside the formal financial system into the mainstream financial system, the more that has an impact on their economic well-being. Don't forget, financial inclusion, which is one key agenda that we're pursuing, has three key dimensions. There is the access, usage or uptake, and impact. Ultimately, the whole idea is how does it improve and impact lives? How does it change people's financial circumstance from poverty, to, well-being? So it is trite logic that if people are financially included, and this policy is aimed at advancing our financial inclusion agenda, think about the millions that will be corralled into the formal financial system by this singular policy, when you have no choice, for instance, but to use cash. To use cashless options. So, and for you to use cashless options, you need to have a bank account. All this is layered on the bank on a bank account. So
the rural people don't have bank accounts.
Exactly.
And they're not too eager to go open bank accounts either.
That's the point. Because, okay, first of all, maybe on that, on that question, what are the things that you have found out that out of the 200 million Nigerians, the percentage of people who have bank accounts, individuals in particular who have bank accounts, aren't really as significant as one would expect? Or would you say they are? Or what are the reasons for that?
Or is this to encourage more people to go open bank accounts?
Well,
in rural areas where there are no banks?
So I mentioned that, from humble beginnings, we had, about 80,000 or so agent networks. Our aspiration was to move that number to 500,000 by the year 2020. As we speak today, we have well over 1.4 million, agents nationwide.
Wow.
The agent penetration is such that there is every 100 meters POS, and you see folks doing transactions, cash in, cash out, and other, allied services. So I think we should move away from that, stereotypical, mindset that the fact that you are in a rural folk means your development as an individual is arrested. We shouldn't. That type of thinking doesn't take us forward. It detains us.
Well, I agree with you, but I'm just asking, you mentioned earlier that this is to encourage more people to open bank accounts. Does CBN have any idea or maybe some study as to why people refused to open bank accounts in the first place, and how is that addressed to give them confidence going forward?
Yes, so, we, as far back as 2010, the inclusion rate, financial inclusion rate, was about 46.2%. And our aspiration, 20%. Our aspiration was to take it to 46.2% by the year 2020. As I speak with you, a lot has happened, in that endeavor to move the needle. Right now, we are well over 64 or thereabout % based on the latest numbers. Now, I mentioned 3 dimensions of financial inclusion. You have the access challenge, you have the usage. So let's even address the point you are making is around, the access dimension. And of course, when you have, maybe distance can be a barrier to inclusion, just distance alone. Cost can also be a barrier. There are quite a number of barriers to entry. And in the last couple of years, the Central Bank of Nigeria, working in collaboration with other key stakeholders in the ecosystem, have done a lot to address these issues. And that is why we now have the numbers where they are. And our aspiration is to move it to 95% by the year 2024, which is just some few years down the road. And I also mentioned that from 500,000 targets in terms of agent network, we are now at well over 1.4. And these agents, what do? They, onboard, some of our rural folks all over the, the country. And this, by the time we do a review of the numbers, it will even go more. So we are well on track. And we believe we should leverage this moment. We should seize this moment to take things to a higher level. And that is the whole essence. So financial inclusion, which is a key agenda the central bank is pursuing, has as a key element, onboarding, customers, when, adult Nigerians have access to bank account. That is, account. That is financial inclusion writ large. Yeah. And I'm saying by the time you are, you are included financially, there are array of services that you have access to, including credit, which will, help in your business, in your, it will help households, and so on and so forth. So there are multiple benefits.
Mr. Haruna, this issue about opening bank accounts, the rural folk may not be too eager to open bank accounts because the banks charge you for even the air you breathe. They charge you for giving you an ATM card. In other climes, your ATM card arrives at your house. They don't even charge you for posting it to you. You have to pay for ATM card, you pay for SMS. So they'll send you one SMS, then they'll charge you for 50 SMSs every month.
Transfer fees.
They charge you for everything. So the woman whose child in Lagos sends her maybe 20,000 naira a month, you want her to go and put that money in the bank so that the bank can take 2,000 naira out of it. It's not likely to happen.
So, again, this there are other complementary policies and initiatives of the central bank that provide the enabling, conditions, for some of these policies to succeed. As you may know, the Central Bank of Nigeria has a very robust consumer protection function. And, based on that, we are there as, the advocates for the consumer. So anyone that feels shortchanged by his bank or financial institution has, an avenue to ventilate, his complaint or grievance. But in any case, we've also introduced what we call guide to charges by banks. And the central bank is monitoring. We have men and women in the consumer protection department who are monitoring and are available, to address, consumer complaints. So that shouldn't be a hindrance. And don't forget, banks too are in business. They also need to cover the cost of rent.
They are making too much money because we hear what they declare as profits every year.
Yeah. So we are, like I said, we are there as if you like, the regulator, the regulator, that guardian angel, watching over things. And through that arrangement, we've been able to, restitute.
Please look at Ayo's face.
I'm just
You're letting the banks get away with too much.
I'm looking for the angel here. But anyway,
there's no halo over your head.
Let me take this message from Adenike on Twitter, who says, I would love to understand how banks advertise that customers bring their old notes and are simultaneously dispensing those old notes they are supposed to be mopping up over a week after the CBN governor stated new notes had been distributed to the banks.
Yes, so, it's a process, like I said, and we're building up to the cutover date. And the governor clearly stated in his announcement that the old notes and the new notes will circulate side by side. So it is not out of place.
Until January 9th.
No. January 9th is the effective date of the revised limits.
Okay.
But the effective date of the new currency regime is 31st of January.
31st of January, okay.
So the existing notes still remains legal tender.
Until January 31st.
Yes, but of course, as we speak, banks are turning in the old notes. So we are systematically taking in the old notes. And to the extent that the new notes have just come in, because it's still early days, so you expect to see that type of situation. But in the build-up to the cutover date, I can assure you, the new notes will be more preponderant, and you will begin to see a tapering of the old notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another question here from Inyang Patrick, who says, the director, that's you, have made it known that cash is expensive for the CBN to manage. I support the CBN on this policy. My question is, does this have anything to do with effective taxing? If yes, why did the stamp duty fail, and why won't this fail? Well, it's him. I didn't say it. And I'm sure you understand what he's talking about.
So, and I'm happy the individual mentioned the issue of tax. If there is anything, and I'm very sure this will be good music to the tax authorities. So, and a cashless, system supports and facilitates better, revenue administration. So there is clear visibility in terms of financial transactions. So the issue of the tax evasion will be significantly, addressed. So one surefire benefit of the cashless policy is it will, help in, having clear visibility in terms of, revenue from taxes.
Well, TJ is also asking you, please help ask your CBN operations director, that is you, how they are going to curb interconnected transfer. You stated it earlier, but maybe he missed it. Several transactions fail and take 5 working days to reverse such transactions, which was part of the reasons rural people don't go use bank accounts.
So the cashless situation is not all Uhuru. It is not that utopian, world that there will be no challenge or issues. And like I said, we are not unmindful of some of these issues. We are very, very mindful of these challenges, and we are working, assiduously to ensure that we address them. There are so many moving parts. A lot of people, people are working behind the scenes to ensure that we address some of these infrastructure, issues and bottlenecks. There's also the vexed issue of digital literacy, cybersecurity, so many moving parts, and working with key stakeholders. Just yesterday, like I was saying, the Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum met as part of the entire ecosystem efforts to ensure that we have a credible, reliable, and efficient payment system. And don't forget, fraud can be a disincentive when people do financial transactions, especially digital transactions, and they have all these issues. Of course, it will be a disincentive. We are not unmindful of that, and we are working, putting in place the necessary supporting structures to ensure that this arrangement works. And it's an evolutionary process. We'll get there.
I don't think I could have asked for a better closing statement than that. Mr. Mustafa Haruna, Director of Banking Supervision, Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming to shed more light on this policy, which seems to be generating a lot of reactions all over Nigeria.
Understandably so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are advocates, and please grab the new Naira notes and go cashless.
You should have just brought us
some. Sunrise will be right back after this. Stay with us.
Thank you.
That picture that you just saw.
It's scary.
Especially with the opening of the second Niger Bridge now, things should ease in that corridor of the country. Yeah. But I don't know of any other part of the world. I mean, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, thankfully, that part is.
Oh, that picture was Lagos. You saw the yellow. You saw the yellow cabs and the yellow buses.
Is the signature of traffic.
Thank you.
Please don't even go there. But at Christmas, you all know that millions of people travel home to enjoy their kids and kin, celebrate the occasion with them. Mass movement from one region of the country to the other is a common feature. Heavy vehicular traffic of goods, services, the people, and all of those things. So, okay, you just mentioned that the second Niger Bridge has been opened to traffic to ease the agony of motorists using that road.
Oh, that is such a welcome piece of news.
And I mean, you should have seen the way the road yesterday. When we showed it on Daily, it was. I mean, the minister had to say, "Look, the road is tempting,
so please don't kill yourself on it."
And it's only natural. But another thing is, which is troubling around that. Perhaps the reason for the minister's comments is that FRSC attributes 80% of road accidents to human factors. So it's not the roads. It's not bad roads. It's human traffic. The Commission has commenced Operation Zero Tolerance on road traffic crashes, assuring the public of adequate mobilization of personnel and all of that. Well, the FRSA reports that a total of 9,218 road traffic crashes occurred in 2019, out of which 3,134, that's over a third of the total incidents, came in the last quarter of the year, which is between September and December. Kaduna and Abuja routes was said to be the riskiest. Also, 30,242 people were reported injured, while 4,609 people lost their lives during the quarter. And these are the ones that were reported.
4,500 in a quarter.
4,609 during the entire quarter. That's to tell us, how much we ourselves need to be responsible. Well, these and a number of other issues will come in this conversation about safe travels this Yuletide with Dr. Kayode Okpeyefa, who is Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
We also have with us in our Abuja studio, Kayode Fanola, who is Deputy Co-Marshal Operations of the Federal Road Safety Commission, as well as Atiku Zailani, who is GM Admin, Nigeria Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. Truly appreciate you being here. Well, Mr. Okpeyefa, yes, let me begin with you. You've been at this for long enough to know. Perhaps we might begin to, if you have the figures, help us understand why these things increase, these road crashes. We don't call them accidents anymore. They are crashes. They are things that really do happen. Why they occur at this time of the year. It's not like people don't travel during the year, the rest of the year. It's not like we're any less careful, but exactly why, if you can factor a guess or have the information, these things.
I will not be able to give the exact figures for Nigeria or any particular jurisdiction, but I'll give an overview. That is that during festive period, people travel more. Now, in our own...
Does that mean we are less careful when we travel?
No, I'm going to come to the attitude. The first thing is we travel more because it's all over the world, not just a climb. In our own climb, it is during Christmas, Salah, holidays, Easters, or when children are resuming schools. In other climes, it's during their big holidays, like the Thanksgiving holidays, holidays. That's number one. So people travel more. So when people travel more, you have more vehicles on the road. So the capacity of the road to handle, to be at its fullest functionality is naturally, technically reduced. So accidents are more prone to occur at that period. Now, that is why campaign during this period...
Sorry, I just want to understand what you just said now. Is that the capacity of the roads are challenged at that time?
At that time.
So the vulnerabilities of the roads show up more?
More, yeah, because you have more people of different, that's the next stage, different driving characteristics and skills. Then you have more vehicles of various kinds of issues.
Sizes and all.
Then you have a lot of distractions, volume on the road. And you now have people between the young to the older. Older people tend to drive with more distance. They keep more distance. Younger people will close up.
Bumper to bumper.
Yes.
So you now have everybody on the road and different characteristics. So that is why the campaign for road safety around that period is always heightened. If you Google now, Christmas road safety, you will notice almost all the countries, the ministers, the secretaries, the commissioners are making one statement or the other, just to tell people to be careful. Now, the other thing is, during this period, that's the other one I mentioned, the people, that's why FRS is giving us data as to who accounts for more access. So the road has not changed. So it is the people that the number of people have increased. Now, during this period too, there tend to be more vehicular traffic. Because of that vehicular traffic, there's tend to be congestion. So there is going to be this zeal. I want to get there fast. So people are anxious, they are apprehensive, they are eager, they are also in joyful mood. So that's also the period where you get distracted, either by drinking, by medication, or something else. So this is a period where everything that could be right or that could be wrong is on the road. So it's a period of Juletides, period of celebrations that you see, not just on the road. The same thing happens at the train stations. The same thing happens in the air travel sector. That's when you see more people rush to the airport, more delays, more cancellations. So it's a natural thing, and we must be prepared for it.
Well, Mr. Fanola, it must be a concern for the Road Safety Commission, clearly with all of these reports and all that we're having. And with Operation Zero Tolerance, that is active now, it's not the first time, definitely, that the Road Safety Commission is going on with this. What has been your findings over the years, and is there a special plan this time around to reduce the fatality figures or even the number of incidents?
Okay, thank you very much. Over the years, we have found that this last quarter of the year is a period, just like Mr. Okwefa said, is a period when we have a lot of vehicles on the road, we have a lot of people on the road for so many reasons. Don't forget that this very period, apart from the celebrations, the festivities, it's also a period, harvesting period. And you know that our people in the rural areas are farmers. This is the time that their agricultural products are coming out. So a lot of vehicles that had been parked from January to September, they will come out because there is work for them. That is one major issue. Then it is also a period when traders particularly want to stock their shops, preparing it for Christmas, selling of goods and so on. So that is another factor. It's also a period when schools will close and students will be going back home. And you agree with me that if a bus is carrying 14 passengers and they are all students, they have a lot of influence on the driver. They will tell the driver to play loud music and they want him to speed. These are factors. So we are conscious of this. And this time around, we have put plans in place to ensure that we counter these problems that we are aware of. For this year, what is unique about it is that major corridors have been reconstructed or rehabilitated to the extent that speed is going to be an issue for us, and we are prepared for that. For instance, the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road is like a Formula One track now. The road is virtually completed. All barriers have been removed. The minister ordered that they should be removed and the contractor has removed them. So the road is so free now. We have developed countermeasures against speeding. One of the first thing is that we are doing campaign on all our the radio and also social media to appeal to Nigerians that the road is very good now and that we should complement it with good driving habits by being patient and complying with speed regulations. Then Niger Bridge, the traffic around Onitsha and Asaba is taking a different dimension now because the second Niger Bridge has been opened, and for the past 2 days now, people have been experiencing a smooth ride using the second Niger Bridge, especially those that are going towards the eastern states of Imo, Abia, and so on. So the traffic situation there is going to be different from what we have been having over the years. We have put men and facilities in place, logistics in place, to ensure that people are able to travel safely and then they will be able to get to their destinations on time with less stress. So I believe that this Christmas to New Year period for this year, our experience is going to be better than what we have had in the past.
Well, Mr. Fanola, just a quick one. You spoke about some measures and all. There was a measure put in place some time back we heard that the road safety talked about speed limiters for public vehicles and the like. What happened to that? How helpful or not was it? Is it still active?
Yeah, very active, and it's very helpful. The speed limiting device specifically is for heavy-duty vehicles and then commercial passenger vehicles, because we have found that this group of vehicles, especially the passenger vehicles, they speed a lot, and whenever they crash, so many lives are lost, many people are injured. So we concentrate on that they should put speed limiting device on their vehicles to ensure that they don't go beyond the speed limit. This is still on. There is a high level of compliance from the fleet operators, passenger fleet operators, and also the heavy-duty fleet operators too. But we have not achieved the 100% compliance. But we go along the route of enforcement, advocacy. We talk to the fleet owners, and then also we do enforcement on the highway to ensure that these vehicles don't speed.
Mr. Zailani, how well are your members adhering to these speed limits?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy he has already mentioned it, that there is substantial compliance in the speed limiting device installation on our vehicles. I'm glad to mention to Nigerians that we have, like he has rightly mentioned, substantially complied. We may not say 100%, but definitely we have achieved substantial compliance, and we are still doing that. I remember that during the last National Executive Council meeting that we had of our association, the national president actually called on all members to ensure those of them that have not yet complied to please ensure that they do this in the interest of their own businesses. Because these vehicles they own, that is their means of livelihood. So when they are not there, they are like practically out of the system. So it is in their own interest to install these speed limiting devices, because we know that speed is one of the factors that cause accidents. So we are working hands in glove with the Federal Road Safety Code to ensure that our members comply with this directive.
Zailani, is it true that sometimes some of your members go out of their way to remove the limiters even after being installed?
No, I can't believe that that kind of thing happens, because the speed limiters are installed at the instruction of the owners of the vehicles. So drivers cannot just go and remove these things from the vehicles. And definitely the owners that invested so much money to install those traffic speed limiting devices cannot go and remove it. For what purpose? In any case, the reason why the speed limiters are there are to control the excess speed, that normally cause accidents, rendering these vehicles completely inoperative. So definitely it is in the interest of the owner of the vehicle to ensure that his vehicle is run safely and to bring the much needed return. And so if the speed limiter is not there, he is exposed. That's what it means. So I cannot believe, we have not received such reports. I'm just hearing it from you, but definitely this is not the case.
Okay. Definitely one of the issues...
Just a second. Dr. Kwefa is smiling at that question and response.
No, because he said he's hearing it from me.
One of the things that will contribute to accidents, especially at this time, of course, is the quality of the car, the state the car is in. To your mind, how well are the MOTs issued to cars? I mean, how exact are they in certifying that a car is right to ride on the road, right to travel, or whatever?
Thank you. From our own study, like the FRSC study already highlighted, you have 4 main factors. I added 1. Normally they would tell you 3. The road, the driver, and the vehicle. Now, the driver, the person, can control the equipment, that is the vehicle. And he can also manage the road. Now, let's come back to the vehicle now. Now, Nigeria has improved.
Sorry, just a second. You said you added the fourth one.
Yeah, I added the fourth. The fourth one is the system itself. That is the environment. Like you mentioned that the roads are now better or the roads are bad. Somebody has responsibility. I mean, not an individual. That is government and the system. That's the fourth one. And that's why we are different from other climes. While they take safety as for everybody and it is top down, we are not there yet. So we are still making progress.
Why is that?
In all fields, in many areas, we're still making progress. I'll get to that. I don't want to start from
We are a work in progress.
We are a work in progress. Now, on this issue of the vehicle, Nigerian system has improved. And we must give kudos to the various ministries of transportations. In the last 5, 6, let me say the last 8 years, many states have established Ministry of Transportation. They have moved away from the conventional Transport Bureau or Ministry of Works and Transport. So we now have full-fledged ministry. Then we also give kudos to the Federal Road Safety Corporation because they have also done tremendous work in building capacity among road users, transporters, and the various states Ministry of Education. Now, we've also, Ministry of Transport, we've also improved in the area of vehicle inspection. Most states now have the vehicle inspection services. About 10 years ago, only few states have. In fact, some have just 3 officers and nobody does any inspection. All you do is pay, you get a certificate. Now, we've also improved from those checks. We've also gone computerized testing. Now, we now have many states. I think it shouldn't be less than close to 20 now have computerized vehicle inspection testing. And what that has done is that it has removed the element of me and you, manipulating the system. But as beautiful as that is, there are so many vehicles like I think is the FRSM. This is an economic period. People want to catch in, make money. So I'm going to my village in, let's say, Karim Lamido, somewhere in Taraba. And I'm going to go in from Lagos. And I have a vehicle, good or bad, I have a vehicle. And I feel if I drive myself, I could make some extra cash. So you have a lot of people. So that vehicle is not meant to travel that kind of distance. It's only meant to take me around
within Lagos.
So you will always have this kind of issues of people not having the best of vehicles. But I must say this because I know there are figures and there are evidence to back it up. The state of our roadworthiness is better than it was last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. We have done better. Now, what you also have achieved better is the quality of our transport operators. NATO, NURTW, Road Transport Employer Association, they've also improved in the management. Yeah, this you will notice this when you go into their garages. You now have much more educated, more qualified, more professionals. Like you can see, we have a general manager administration. They have now imbibed corporate management. Now the drivers are better educated. I'm talking of corporate transport operators.
Because I was going to take you up on the way their road use.
No, then you now have me and you, the individuals. A lot of us are also going to drive this season. So it is not just...
When you talked about, the public transport, services and all, and this, I dare say, is all over the nation, where there is a designated bus stop, but they do not use the bus stops.
I mentioned the fourth person. That's what I'm referring. That's the fourth person. It's not... Look, I won't blame the man.
The environment.
The issue is not about the man who is disobeying. I'll put it on the government and the system. If you have designated a place for bus stop, and people are not using it as bus stop, stop them from using it. Stop them. If you allow it to continue, people will take it. It's the same thing in this.
Whose job is it to stop them?
It's the government. It's the system.
When we say system, at least in Lagos, for instance, just for instance, and even in Ogun State has trackers or whatever the name of their
Trace.
They have Trace in Ogun State. They have LASMA in Lagos. They have Road Safety Commission in every space of the country. They have the Highway Patrol. The federal government also
different names, Karota in Kano,
and all those things. So
Kasma,
when you say
Esma, Desma,
exactly, when you say government, which of these agencies has this job?
You see, you also have police. You have FRC. It depends from different states. Transport laws have people who are supposed to enforce. In Lagos, we have. I don't want to keep using Lagos because Lagos looks almost perfect. Lagos, you have LASMA, you have Kai.
Sorry, you drink water. Drink water.
You have neighborhood watch. You have so many agencies that will handle this.
Almost perfect.
Is that what I said?
Yes.
I give it to Lagos by Nigerian standard.
But really, go to Oshodi. Some 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, Lagos, traffic in Oshodi.
No, you didn't get what I'm saying. What I'm talking of the structures, almost perfect in the structures. I put the number
execution.
4. That's another thing. That's what I'm saying. I put the blame. Not the issue should be the system and the government.
That's supposed to enforce.
They should enforce.
Okay, let's ask. You talked about the people and the government. Both of them are in Abuja. Well, so government first. Mr. Fanola talked about this. You talked about road use and the fact that sometimes people just don't line up the way they ought to line up, and that is a definite challenge for so many people because once they see what the roads look like, it's enough discouragement for them. So, going by what you heard Mr. Dr. Okwefa say, how do you respond? The role of government in enforcing road traffic or road use rules or traffic rules, whichever way we want to put it.
Okay, thank you. Just like Mr. Okwefa said, we have the responsibility of ensuring free flow of traffic. It lies more with the state government within the cities, within the township, while the Federal Safety Corps concentrate more on the highways. And that is why we encourage the state governments to establish traffic management agencies so that
on that, very quick one, Mr. Fanola, on that,
within the towns,
just a quick one, if you can hear me, just a second. You talked about the Road Safety Commission concentrating on the highways, and it's to the highways that I would like to speak. Lagos, for instance, and I dare say maybe for Arole and the rest of them, those major highways, where transport vehicles, public transport vehicles, they literally block the highways. What's the function of the road safety in that to ensure that these fellows don't block the highways? Two issues you have to speak to now. One is the conventional, transport, vehicles, public transport vehicles that do not use the bus stops as they are supposed to use it on the major highways, and add that to fuel scarcity queues, where the people don't use they literally block the highways with fuel queues.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start from the first question. The issue of places where we have a lot of vehicles, particularly heavy-duty vehicles, parking on the highway, we have issue with that because we are supposed to have mega parks where these trailers, tankers, trucks are supposed to park. We advise that when you have driven for 4 hours, you are supposed to stop, have maybe like 30 minutes rest. So when they have to stop, there's supposed to be provision of parks for them to where they can park off the road and rest. You agree with me that certain locations, for instance, in Ogere along Lagos-Ibadan Express, had been a major issue. We had to do a lot of work there to force the tankers, trailers, drivers to go into the parks. But sometimes we found that these parks are actually not very good. Sometimes during the rainy season particularly, the road surface, the surface there in the parks are so bad that if they go in, they get stuck. So that discourages them. we had to work on that. And so we have so many other places like that along the highways nationwide. We have Umunede in Delta State. We have Tafa Ajere along Kaduna Abuja Road. We have Night Mile in Enugu, like that. So there are so many places that where they stop. FRS is working with the Nigerian Shippers Council and then some state governments also and some private sector who are outfit who are interested in this business. They are building mega parks where this class of vehicles can, stop and take a rest or maybe do some servicing on their vehicles and things like that so that they can move off the road. So FRSC does not have the mandate to go and create parks, but where these parks exist, then we are going to do enforcement to make sure that the vehicles go into those parks. However, there are certain places where they just want to stop and take a rest or check their vehicles, and there are no parks. So that's where you see them, parked along the roads, and the best you can do is to make sure that they park in a way that at least will not obstruct traffic. They also have places where there is a factory. For instance, along Lokoja Kaba Road, that's where we have the Obajana Cement. You will see over 2,000 trailers either going into the factory or coming out of the factory. So what we can do, there is no park for them. So what we can do is just to make sure that, well, they park on the shoulder of the road and give enough space to ensure that there is a free flow of traffic. The same thing happens around Dokpela, where we have another cement factory. That's a major highway too. So that has been a major problem for us, but we are working with like I said, the Nigerian Shippers Council and also some state government and then private concerns who want to invest into that. For instance, in Arole, we have one major park there, or a Liberty Park. It has accommodation for maybe up to 1,000 trailers can park there. So around Arole now, you see that you won't see vehicles parked on the road. And if they park on the road, we move them to that park. So the solution there is where we're able to get government, at the state level and also federal, and also private concerns, businesses who are interested to build mega parks. That will be the ultimate solution. Then the second part of your question about fuel queues is an aberration. It's not supposed to be. But however, where there is a problem of scarcity and maybe fuel is available only in one particular place, and if that station happens to be along the highway and there's a queue that is spilling to the road, we send men there to go and arrange the queue such a way that it won't affect the free flow of traffic.
Well, the queue along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, beg your pardon, just before Berger, still there, and road safety isn't too far away. I wonder when maybe your folks haven't really gotten that word. But let me ask Mr. Zailani, because permit me to say this in pidgin. This matter touch you, no be small. So, because your men are the road transport owners, road transport users, and the rest of them. So, talking about the issues Dr. Okwefa raised here, how would you respond to the fact that it is transport, your men, your employees, who use this and use the roads, block the roads in most cases, consequently causing a whole load of traffic tailback and the rest of them? Is there a system of educating your men to ensure they don't park along the roads, use only designated bus stops all over the nation?
And truck parks?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. But let me first start by appreciating Dr. Paper for that compliment that, the transport organizations are really reforming. They are becoming better. They are providing facilities. They are organizing themselves very well. I'm happy to hear that from him, being a transport professional, and I respect him for that. Having said so, with respect of the questions that you've just raised, I've had the two speakers speak about it, and basically that is also our position. This is a government matter, and the Nigerian Shippers Council has been at the vanguard of making sure that trailer parks are created on the various highways that we have in the country. And this has been on for almost 3 or 4 years now, but nothing has come up. I've not seen, apart from the one at Tafa and the one at Kaduna, Mararaba and Jos, that we have. Me, from this part of the country, I have not seen anyone that has, come up. And we always comply. When they tell us, and he has raised something very, very important, even when the facility is there, if you've not made it to be conducive for our trucks to go in and park, it's going to be very difficult, because in the rainy season, if they get inside the park, they will just get stuck in there. So nobody would like to drive his vehicle and go inside there, because he won't be able to come out easily. So this kind of trailer parks or any facility of that nature should be constructed in such a manner that is going to be suitable for people to go in and come out. And that is the main reason why we don't want them to park on the road ourselves, because some of them, you should realize that in our own case, our operations are divided into segments. We have the wet cargo segment, which is responsible for transporting petroleum products across the country. Then we have the dry cargo, those of them carrying heavy goods, from one part of the country to another. Then we have the passenger or commuter service. So this particular one they are talking about mostly affects the heavy-duty trucks, those carrying petroleum products and those carrying heavy cargo. So if they don't have this kind of facilities, it's going to be a problem. We don't want them to park on the roads also because of the hazards. Some of them are carrying highly inflammable products like petroleum and other things like that. And when they park in those places, a little problem can cause serious,
Mr. Zalani, just one quick one.
And so on.
My apologies.
Accidents and disasters.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. There's something significant that Dr. Opoefa talked about. And don't worry, you can send him the receipt for the payment made for the compliment that he gave your association. But there's an issue that he raised about how road use tests the integrity of the roads. And pretty much saying that there are certain roads that maybe your vehicles, the heavy-duty vehicles, shouldn't ply because they are not strong enough to bear those things. Are you aware of, is there any such provision? And when you have heavy-duty vehicles testing the integrity of the roads like that, is there a reporting system in your association where your men and staff use these roads and they come back and say, this particular road, the integrity has been tested, and then you give the information to government so that they can do better?
Yeah, we do that all the time. We do that all the time. And let me also, because this thing you are raising now is very fundamental. First of all, you should realize that we are providing very important service to the nation. If these trucks are not there, it's going to be a problem, because carrying goods from one part of the country is going to be seriously inhibited. So definitely we need these trucks to do this. And we have to use the roads, whether we like it or not, we have to use them, because the railways still, you can see, in spite of government effort to revamp the railways, we are still not where we are supposed to be. So we still have to use these roads to carry these goods. Now, what is important is, coming back again, we have to mention the roads. Although I heard that roads have been repaired, but let me tell you that I'm not in any way underrating the performance of government in trying to fix the roads, but majority of them are still in very bad shape. So when you need to fly these roads to see what is happening. For example, during the rainy season, when Lokoja had that flood, you can imagine what happened. The traffic had to be diverted to go back through Bida, Lambata Road, and so on and so forth. And vehicles were spending 10 days, 2 weeks, on that particular expressway before they reach their destination. And it's always a very difficult thing. So we have, at our own end, we have task forces. We have task forces in Abuja, we have task force in Kano, in Lagos. And all our state councils, our state branches, they have task forces that usually go and patrol these roads to come back and report to us the position. To say this place is very bad, your trucks cannot follow this particular place. And we collect all this information and make it available. through letters, through advocates, through whatever means whenever we meet government, we mention these things, that this is what we want. That we want the government to do this, we want the government to do that. Not because we just want our trucks to have free passage, no, but because we also care about the safety of other road users. That is very, very important. So addressing specifically the question you have raised, whether we have an internal mechanism of getting information, yes, we do. We make use of these task forces that we have to collect information and then transfer this information to the government agencies, the various road safety agencies like the Federal Road Safety Corps, as well as the State Directorate of Traffic Services that we have all over the country. Okay. So we do this on a regular basis. But we have to, government has to step up efforts to make sure that trailer parks are in place, which is very, very important. So Nigerian Shippers Council, they must hurry up. They must make sure that these things come on stream. Okay. Not only the establishment of the trailer parks, but trailer parks with full facilities where drivers can wait, rest before they move on. As you are aware, we have stopped our drivers from driving in the night. And these are the advice of our...
that raises another question, Mr. Zelani.
Driving in the night.
Just 1 second. Yes. Just 1 second. Let me bring that to Dr. Okwefa. I think I remember at some point, I don't remember how many decades ago, that the government of the day banned movement of heavy-duty vehicles at daytime. Was there such a time? Because
no,
I just reading.
I'm not too sure of banning. They're just advices. Okay. That it's safer because of visibility, road condition, and the fact that at night you have fewer enforcement officers on the road, and when there are incidents, the response time is not as prompt. But I just want to digress. Now, we're concentrating on moving during this later period. I'm aware the train services are back and available, much more than it was available 5-6 years ago. The Abuja-Kaduna train services is back, and it will be available. But the most important one is the Woli Itape. You know, people moving from Abuja to the south now have an option. They just need to travel by road to Itape or Lokoja or somewhere around there and take the train to Woli. It's cheaper, it's safer, it's faster.
Yeah, but Mr. Okwefa,
it's available.
Mr. Okwefa, please slow down. Train service. Abuja Kaduna has just resumed. For what reason? That reason is what is scaring people from the train.
No, sorry. We had a transport summit 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I presented a paper on rail safety. It was all sector safeties. And those kind of incidents occur all over the world, even in the United States, in UK. And you just go and check it. You will see that almost all parts of the world have their share of those incidences. That's one. Recently, we had the level crossing incident. I think that was during the week. Go and check the record for US. The number that occurs in US on a daily basis is huge. Those are things that are within the system, and the system is working to make sure it doesn't occur. That's why if you talk too much on that, you scare people completely away. So these are things the top level government are taking control of. For the Abuja-Kaduna rail, that has been taken care of for now. And what we can do is to let people know that that option is available to move. The Lagos-Abeokuta-Ibadan too is there. It will also move a lot of people, so that people don't just focus on roads alone. And I'm also aware that the railway is going to increase services during this period. Okay. But more importantly is the people moving from the north central to the south. The Woli Itape train is available. It's currently one trip because of diesel costs. It used to be like 4, but at least I'm sure they're going to increase the number. That also will be available. So that then another thing I also want to speak here is about the seat belt. Please, during this season, this is not the time to brag. There will be too many drivers on the road who will not be too good to drive because the FRSC will not be checking, they will not be checking off these things. Everybody is going to be allowed to move. So please use your seatbelt. Check your vehicles. If we are in Harmattan season, if you are going to travel very early in the morning, be careful because the visibility will not be as perfect. And if you are in a public vehicle, make sure the driver is not under influence. You can always know. You can always know at the beginning of the trip if you engage the driver. And we should appeal also to the transport operators to make sure they check. I know FRC is going about with breathalyzers, but we will not be able to check up. Then the third one, the third one is, apart from the seatbelt, the impairment that is, then this is for children. If you are traveling with children, please don't put these young kids
in the front seat,
below the age of 12 in the front seat. Then the most important one is the speed.
On this matter, this one that you just raised, I think a huge number of people need to understand it. I was driving, I think it was day before yesterday. Even though it was within the locality, a woman, I'm almost certain it's the mother, had a little child, sat in front with another passenger in the front seat, thinking, okay, I mean, I can always handle it. But even at 20, exactly, even at 20 kilometers per hour, it is dangerous because you just slam the brake once and then you don't know what could happen. So I'd like you to expatiate a little more on that. You talk about the speed thing so that people can understand that whichever part of the country you are, it is dangerous to have underage children in the front seat.
You know, they create a lot of distractions. That's the first thing they do. Even if you strap the child to seat belt and the seat belt, you are tempted to keep looking at that child, and that's distraction. Because the kids can't sit for more than 45 minutes in one. They will move, they will talk, they will.
Even if the child sits,
45 seconds.
Even if the child sits, you should be afraid. Why is this child quiet?
So don't keep them in front of the seat. And when you keep them at the back, if your car has a seat belt, please use it.
Yeah.
If I'm not talking of car seat now, if the child is even above 12 and you have a seat belt, people should also try to do that. Then the last one is that speed. FRC will do its best. VIO, road traffic services, everybody will do their best. But this season is not the season to speed. Please use your Google map or Waze to have an idea before you take off. What is the road condition like? So that you can plan, okay, I'm thinking it's 2 hours, but from what I'm seeing, it's going to be 3 hours and 4. So you don't be in a hurry. And then please stay away from your cell phone. Whether you are using the one stuck to your ear or what, please try to stay away from it at all. Little distraction this season, there are too many drivers on the road who are not supposed to be on the road. There are those that are supposed to be on the road who are also distracted. This is the season to make money for a lot of people on the road. This is the season to distribute ampers. They are speeding to get it distributed. Everybody is on the hyper move. You are not the only one on the road. Defensive driving is the key. That's what I would say.
Mr. Fanola, are there speed limits on most of our highways? And if there are motorists adhering to the speed limits on those roads?
Definitely, we have speed limits on our highways. For the express roads, maximum speed is supposed to be 100 kilometers per hour for cars. And then for buses, supposed to be 90 kilometers per hour. And on state roads, the maximum speed limit is supposed to be 80. And there are specific locations. For instance, within the built-up areas, the maximum speed limit is supposed to be 30 kilometers per hour. So this has been an issue for us on those roads that have been rehabilitated or reconstructed. Earlier, I mentioned the case of Lagos-Ibadan. In fact, what we are doing on that road is just traffic calming. You will see our personnel even holding red flags and standing at a distance of 100 meters from each other, just try to bring down the speed of the motorists. We have a situation where some of them who are coming, for instance, from the far north or from the east, when they enter Lagos-Ibadan Road, they want to recover the time they felt they have lost, and then they begin to speed. This is very bad. We are working very hard on that road to make sure that we calm speed during this particular period. The traffic is so heavy that we don't want to, because we want to stop one person, then we have to disturb the traffic. We avoid as much as possible disrupting the free flow of traffic. So we try to avoid arresting people. What we try to do is to make sure that we calm them down, make sure they drive within the speed limit. We advise them. And then the issue of night traveling too, we want to use this opportunity to advise people, when you want to travel for Christmas, for New Year, please leave home very early so that you will not travel in the night. We know that the economy is supposed to be running 24 hours, yes, but for people traveling with your family, we advise that you leave very early so that you can travel during the day, and by nightfall you have gotten to your destinations. Even the heavy-duty vehicles that are doing cross-country trip from Lagos to Maiduguri to Katsina, we advise that when it is late in the night, they should stop and take a rest and continue in the morning. But we have had a lot of crashes that happen in the night, and the results are not good at all. We still have some areas where the roads are not good, so when they run into a big pothole, they can lose control and then there will be a crash. And for help to come, to take some time in the night. So we advise that people should not travel during the night this time.
Well, just a quick one. This question is for you three gentlemen. Almost 2 years ago, let me begin with you, Mr. Fanola. The federal government introduced what they call a weight limit on trucks to reduce damage on Nigerian roads. With Dr. Okwefa started that conversation around integrity of the roads. So what has happened along that line? We know that it was something that's supposed to be championed by the Standards Organization of Nigeria. But what has been the story for the FRSC almost 2 years now since this enforcement has begun of weight limit on trucks? What has happened along that line?
Okay. You know, when you're talking of loading limit for trucks and trailers and even tankers, it's not like passenger vehicles where the rule says, okay, this vehicle you are supposed to carry 5 passengers, you are carrying 6, so you are overloaded. For trucks, you have to have a functional weighbridge. And these weighbridges, we had them at the old toll gates. They are no longer there now, and but the Minister of Works has promised that they are going to put digital weighbridges at specific locations, and then that is when the enforcement can really be done. Without those equipment, there is no way you can do enforcement for heavy-duty vehicles on the road.
Well, Mr. Zailani, naturally it would seem like this is something for your men, the people who are members of your organization. Those ones are the ones who use these vehicles more. Is there a way to measure the limits on the weight of vehicles? And has that been a thing for your association?
Okay, that question is to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to reiterate that safety is very important, in our businesses. In fact, safety is a cardinal objective in our association, because for you to carry anybody or any good or service from one point to the other, it becomes useful only when you've been able to do that safely. So safety is very, very important. You are referring to axle load limits, perhaps.
Yes, please.
And about 2 years ago, the Federal Ministry of Works, they gazetted this, what do you call it, axle load limits for various categories of, trucks, 30 tons, I think. And we are working towards that. earlier when you were introducing the subject matter, you mentioned sun. Because you see, we have to look at these things holistically. Some of these trucks, were imported at a time of dire national need, because the country was underserved by vehicles. And so people started importing this because, as you are aware, you must appreciate the fact that this road transportation, has been, government has almost removed its hand completely from it. Only private investors are doing everything. So we import these trucks, with the limited resources that we have, without any government intervention in it at all. And we imported vehicles that will be able to serve the economy well. And in so doing,
essentially, Mr. Zelani, it sounds like you're saying, just a second, it sounds like you're saying that there is a challenge of compliance largely. Is that what you're saying? Because we're running out of time. Just
from inception, what I'm trying to say is that, you see, because people have been blaming our members that we are using trucks of higher capacity more than what the roads can take.
Okay.
And I'm just giving the justification that the time when these trucks came in was at a time when the country needed them most.
Okay, all right.
And the government did not give any incentive. We had to use our resources to get them in.
Okay.
And all the agencies that...
Yes, okay, let Dr. Okwefa speak to the same issue. You want to weigh?
I would say, I will use your word. It's a work in progress. Now, the first thing is...
Dr. Okwefa, that's like a fallback for you today.
No.
Everything is a work in progress.
Now, because you give kudos to the Minister for Works and Housing. He has the champion, the same thing for the Shippers Council. Now, the way bridges are out, but we see our way bridges in the factories, at the ports, where these trucks, at the cement factories, they should comply so that the FRSC is less burdened. If at the point of loading from the factory, I don't want to mention anyone, you have food companies, so many companies, cement companies, make sure you load the right thing. I give you the one that is worst. It's in the wet cargo. It used to be 33,000 liters. It went to 45,000. That's still okay. Now it went to 60. Now some people are doing 90. And the rule says it should not be more than 45. So what you will expect is that at the loading point, don't load any truck. And the petroleum tanker drivers are no pen. That's their position. That don't load any tanker above 45. But you still see them on the road. That's why I mentioned work in progress. The Ministry of Works, who has responsibility to build roads, have done this concessioning. They've done expression of interest, all those things, and at the point of concession some of the roads. At this point, where bridges are going to come up, the Shippers Council will put up these truck parks where drivers' time, hours spent will be checked, where there will be way bridges, trucks will pass through. At that point, that's what the GM of NATO was alluding to, and we'll soon get there. But I want to say this, that many of the organized private sector don't overload. The point of overloading is when they get to Arole, they get to Suleja, they get to Ninth Mile, those trailer parks, then the drivers now get much more extra loads and the rest.
Okay. We could go on and on this one. I didn't even know it was going to be this exciting, did you? No, you didn't. Well, we have to thank you very much for being here. Dr. Kayode Okwefa, Executive Director, Center for Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thank you so much for your time. As well as Mr. Kayode Fanola, Deputy Corps Marshal Operations of the Federal Road Safety Commission, and Mr. Atiku Zelani, GM Administration, Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO. Don't forget to send that receipt to Dr. Okwefa for the commendation he gave you.
Mr. Kayode Zelani. Since we have Kayode here, we have Kayode there.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of our conversation. Up next is that conversation around mobility, this time of your body. Yes. It's holiday time. It doesn't have to be sleeping time all the time.
No, eating time.
Yes, it's eating time, but then eat responsibly. We're back after now. Stay with us.
I go ask.
Ask the exercise professional.
That song reminds me of Elvis every time I hear it.
Elvis Presley.
Yes.
The king of rock and roll.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, my mommy was busy doing some exercise there. And well, that's what we're going to be talking about now. You know, the bunga of it all. It is a well-known fact that if you would like to live a long, healthy life, exercise needs to be a fundamental part of that plan. Unfortunately, many people associate exercise with going to the gym, getting a membership,
paying membership monthly
fees and all kinds of equipment, lifting and all kinds of things. But I'm sure it's not that bad. I don't go to the gym.
How would you know?
I don't think.
Are you a professional?
I don't think if it were, there wouldn't be so many people going to the gym. Well, what do I know? A fitness consultant is right here with us, and he's the director, Institute of Registered Exercise Professionals, Joel Uzamere. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't see no big muscles on you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What happened? Normally, gym instructors are kind of...
Yes. So it's just the same way you think that all women should be size 8. Fitness is not...
Not if you're a Nigerian man.
Okay, well, fitness is not really all about muscles.
No.
Yeah, muscles are important, but we all have muscles. I tell people we all have 6 packs. The problem is something is covering the 6 packs. So
The shirts.
Well, you know, so yes. So I am a fitness professional. I am more of a fitness consultant. I train the trainers and audit the gyms.
Okay.
So I don't spend a lot of time in the gym, but I have my own routine and
you don't spend a lot of time in the gym anymore, right?
Yes, anymore actually. Yeah, that's correct.
How did I guess?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
You mean the frame is still there? The frame is still there.
You still get them. You still get them. Now tell us. I want to start thinking about keeping fit now. I'm just thinking about it. I want to start doing that now.
But I'm afraid.
Where do I start?
No, wait, but I'm afraid. Having heard that if you need to keep fit, you have to go to the gym, you have to get all those equipment, get heavy lifting and all those things. So that's scary enough.
Get a treadmill, get a bike.
So there are 2 things we talk about when it comes to questions like this. They are what we call motivators and demotivators. One of the demotivators is this perception that you need to be inside the gym. Now, is the gym important? Yes, but that is not what fitness is. Fitness is basically the ability for you to do your work effectively without undue stress or fatigue. And after you're done with your work, you still have enough time for emergency or recreational activities.
Or energy.
So, yeah, you have enough energy. So you don't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Bruce Lee or any of those people for you to
look like Arnold Schwarzenegger now.
Now.
Maybe in the past, yeah.
Okay, but my point is fitness is living well, is lifestyle, is ensuring that you're keeping your muscles active, your heart is active, and that when I'm saying that, I'm talking about cardiovascular exercise, for instance. Your heart is active and strong, your lungs are active and strong, your muscles are not, as you grow older, there's something called atrophy, where your muscles begin to reduce.
Stiffen.
Yes, no, not just stiffen, but also reduce in size, and they begin to sag. So if you see people, see that their arms and all that are sagging. If you see boxers who have maybe boxed for you, if you see them now, maybe Arnold, for instance, you see him all sagged out. And so this one of the things that exercise does for you. Also mobility and bone density, because as you grow older, your bone also begins to go through arthritis and osteoporosis and other things that happen to the bone as you grow. So fitness is not just about muscles and weight loss. Fitness is you living optimally.
Now, you just, there's too many questions to ask you, but let's begin. You mentioned cardiovascular exercises.
Yes.
It suggests to me there are different kinds of exercises.
Fantastic. I think that's a very fantastic question because, yes, so we have majorly under health-related fitness. So we have what we call sport-related fitness and we have health-related fitness.
Thank you.
Now, for health-related fitness, which is what everyone needs that comes into the gym, what you need to work on is first your cardiovascular system. And yes, that's in the order of importance. Cardiovascular system first.
Okay.
Muscular system.
Cardiovascular, okay, mention them.
Yeah,
mention
cardiovascular
them.
system.
Yes.
Your muscular system, which will have both your strength and endurance.
Okay.
And then your flexibility.
Okay.
So let's start back from the
Back
top.
to number one.
So when we say
Cardiovascular.
we are saying exercises where you need oxygen in order to perform that workout. So for instance, when you dance, you notice that over a period of time, you now begin to need oxygen because your body is using up a lot of oxygen and energy in your body, and so your body is requiring oxygen.
Actually, I don't know that I need oxygen. I just know that
You are panting.
Panting.
I'm panting.
Yes, so that's the point. So swimming,
The dancer doesn't know what
dancing. So you know what I'm saying? Because some people think that aerobics or cardio is when you go and do what we call aerobics in the gym. It's not called aerobics, it's called dance to music. And so if you can take a walk around your estate for 1 hour, 30 minutes, you have done cardiovascular exercise. You see the point? So I'm not trying to tie it to the events or the routines we have in the gym. I'm trying to let you know that anytime you do any workout and you see that your body begins to need extra oxygen or your body is needing to cool down itself, which is why you produce sweat, then you are doing some kind of cardiovascular exercise.
So if you run up and down the stairs a few times.
Yes, that is good if you are young. Yeah. So the other thing about.
So you're saying that Alero can't?
No. There's something we call the grace years. You know, when you're in those grace years, you know, there are some things you shouldn't do.
That will get you very far.
Well, that's my job.
It will get you very far.
There are some things that you don't do. And that is why even in cardio, it's important to get a professional because there is high impact and no impact exercise. There's cardio that can get you into trouble, and there's cardio that is good for you. So
Okay, now, I just told you that I want to start.
Okay, yeah.
So how do I start? You've advised me. It's good for me, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
Yeah.
so how do I start? Next step.
The first thing you should do, I will go to what you want to hear, but the first thing you should do, you should get a fitness assessment done.
Okay.
Meaning that there's something called the VO2 max.
The doctor?
No, the fitness professional.
Okay.
So it will do an assessment and find out the amount of oxygen you are using per beat. That means by any time your heart is requiring you to beat. Okay. So let me just say this to you. When he does all that assessment, he will then know what to advise. Okay. Now, but let me assume that I have done that. I don't want my students saying, I heard you give recommendations without assessment. So we've cleared that part. So let's assume we've done some assessment. We know where you are. We know the volume. We understand all the oxygen and everything has to be your body. We know your muscle and all that. The first thing you will do is to start with what we called low intensity, long duration exercise. So there are 3 types of exercise you can do. There is low intensity, long duration, mid intensity.
Walking.
It doesn't matter what the exercise is. I'm going to now go to the exercise because you can walk and it's high intensity by running. You know what I mean?
I said walk.
Or bricks. So
I
if
did
you,
not
if
say
you bricks
run.
walk, so if you bricks walk, for instance, it is mid. If you walk, then it is low intensity. Okay, so using our feet, just walking will be mid intensity. So if you're doing any low intensity, ensure it is long duration. Okay, that way you get the best of your exercise. But what most people do is that I'm walking and they tell Joel, I've done 10,000 steps today. That doesn't do anything for you. What you want to do is, well, no.
I'm very proud of my 10,000
steps.
steps.
I don't mean it that way. I have, but I don't mean it that way. My point is that can't be what you're using to calculate the amount of workout you've done for the day.
Okay.
It's not enough at all. It doesn't cut it. Well, because of the festive period, I want to talk about some of the things that we will drink and eat.
Oh, we'll get
which
there.
we'll get to, hopefully. But basically, what you want to do is start slow and let your body get used to the workout, to the technique, and don't, when you start hard, you tell yourself 10 reasons why you cannot continue. So when you start with low, long durations, you can listen to music, you can do whatever you like.
Start at 4,000 steps.
No. 10,000 steps is not even what we're talking about now. Let's not talk about steps now. let's just talk about the workout. And let's use minutes. So start with mid.
You just cut me down.
No, it's fine. The problem is I've seen so many people with 10,000 steps, but
They're not healthy.
Done
Yes.
inside the
yes, they're
house.
still really unhealthy. So they just do the 10,000 steps. I don't know how they get it, but.
Well, if it's 10,000 steps of brisk walking, well, okay, 6,000 of it is brisk walking, and the others is just
It's
walking.
not the same thing as 10,000 of being in your house. My point. Somebody
So-
brisk walking and somebody just, walking.
Leisurely walking
Yeah,
around the
it's
house.
not the same thing. Because the intensity matters.
Now you know. So that smartwatch of yours,
Wow.
10,000 steps.
No, it's
not a
dissuade
big deal.
people. Yeah, it's not. It shouldn't be your fitness goal.
I'm not dissuading you. I'm just telling you.
Yes,
it's not enough.
Yes, it's not. Yeah, that's it. It's not enough.
Says the man who doesn't even do 5,000.
Come on. I beg your pardon. I'm not even giving this pardon to you. I'm begging it right now. Because I'm very proud of my routine, by the way.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Except
Okay.
that
We'll talk
once
about that.
I begin to notice that my blood pressure is rising, I know that my exercising is low. Speak to that.
Great, but you shouldn't wait for.
No, I'm just saying.
it to go high.
Yes, that's good. That's fantastic.
At least you know you're conscious of it.
But guess what? Some people are not that lucky. Some people get their blood pressure high and they're on the floor.
Yeah.
Don't forget that heart attack and stroke comes
don't give
from
announcements.
Yes, they don't give announcement, and they are from this same thing. It is when your blood pressure is so high and you have an eruption in
Somewhere.
the heart or towards the brain. That's stroke and that's heart attack. So what you should use is what we call maximum heart rates. They are. Let me just tell you the easy way to calculate it. There is a more scientific way to do it, but that comes with you paying a fee. But technically,
You will pay a fee too.
but anyway, wait. But let me just tell you this:
Okay.
whatever your age is, minus 200 would serve as a basis for you to know this is my maximum heart rate.
Say that again. Whatever your
Whatever
age.
your age is,
Yes.
subtract that from. Let me change the figure now. Just stay with me. From 220.
Okay.
Whatever that figure is your maximum heart rate. Meaning that when you're exercising, by the time you get,
220 minus
let's say for instance
your
40.
age. Okay.
Let's say 40. That means that when you're working out and you have your smartwatch, which you should get by the way, if you're above 40, you should check. The minute you see that your heart rate is doing 180, take it easy. Take it easy. Because to lose weight, you don't need to crash your heart rate. Losing weight or being fit is not from you crashing your heart rate. And most times when you get to that maximum heart rate, you get too tired at work. Okay, that's another discussion. But
We'll come to the work.
you just want to don't
Slow
wait for
down a little.
your
Okay.
BP.
Now, this is the Yuletide season, so let's
Yes,
speak to that.
yes.
No, the next time you're coming here, by the way, you're going to come with those checklists of before you start. What are the fitness assessments you do before you start, working out?
Yeah, I can tell you that off my head, but it's fine. Next time.
We'll come to that. Let's talk about the Yuletide.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a lot of, Alera mentioned it several times, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking, with the right things and the contrabands
Yeah.
in this season. So what are the to-dos and not to-dos?
Okay, so let me put it this way. During the seasons when people are vulnerable, they tend to think, oh, I should rest. I mean, this is holiday season. Let's all jolly and have fun. But this is one of the
And relax.
yes times where you will gain so much
the
calories.
season to be jolly.
Huh? Oh, you're in trouble, man. Okay, so this is one of those seasons where I just want to ask people not to throw caution out, and just if you already have a routine, stick with it. Stick with it, and do your best to just continue in the gym and all those kind of stuff. Because the truth is, this is when you have more time to either go to the gym or do the workout you do in your home, or watch what you eat, and not just because you're tired, you grab the first thing you want to eat. So this actually is a season to actually check your lifestyle and say, you know what, I'm at home, I'm around. Let me eat a bit more healthy. Let me eat stuff that is a bit more healthy. But let me just tell you some of the realities that happen now. This is where people sit down at home, put on TV, and are just eating what you call snacks. So
cakes.
Yeah, so they will eat in the morning
Biscuits.
and say, no, I'm just going to eat once today. And then they'll eat all sort of snacks. And then when it's like 3, they'll be like, I'm not so hungry. And then maybe at 9 they'll eat one. And you say, how many times? You're like, I had just twice. You know, and so they feel, and remember, we are moving less. So there's not even any activity. There's no stress at work. There's nothing that is causing your body to burn any calories. So what you want to do this season is actually pause. Because for every calorie you take in, you will dearly pay for it. There is no way out.
Calorie that you take in that you don't burn.
Yes, you will dearly pay for it. And of course, when we talk about calories, we're talking basically from your basal metabolic rate, meaning that there is a standard amount of calories that your body needs to survive every day. So for men, I think it's roughly 2,500 calories, and for women, it's 2,300 calories. But by the time you take your first meal, you've done about 900 to 1,000 or 1,200 calories, depending on how heavy you are.
Why are you looking at me?
And then by the time you add 1 bar of chocolate,
oh no, let's not even go there.
For the day.
We are done for the day. And you know, there's this mindset that I can take maybe 1 soda, you know, just take a little soda drink, then maybe in the afternoon a cup of juice. Then because I don't want to, I want to, you know, lose weight. I'll take malt. I won't take soda. I'll just take malt. By the way, malt hours times 2 of whatever Coke has. Sorry, whatever soft drink has. Times 2. No, you don't need to say hi. Just buy the product, look behind it.
And it's written right
there. They will
there.
tell you per 10 ml. That means that whatever you are saying, multiply it by, if it's 50. So you multiply the 10 by 50. Don't go and look at it and you say, oh, it's just 50 calories. Oh, wow. They are put somewhere there that per 10 ml. So you have to multiply that to get the figure. So that's 150 calories for your soft drink. And then for your malt drinks, it's 265 calories only. Actually lower than beer. But the problem with beer is that you don't take 1 bottle.
So if you take 1 bottle, you're safe.
I just said that Coke is 150, beer is 250, beer is 220, then malt drinks is 265 calories.
My soft drink is safer then.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you should drink it. I'm telling you.
No, I know.
Yeah, but technically, those who are trying to run away from
certain drinks
and thinking that maybe a drink like a malt drink will help.
A fizzy drink.
Yes, yeah. You're just going back to, it's just worse.
Now,
where you don't want to go to.
For the fizzy drink, we also hear, right, that it's dangerous for the bones. Is that correct?
Ooh, okay. So,
especially at certain ages.
So for me, as a fitness professional, I don't see the correlation just directly that as I'm drinking this Coke, it's affecting
my bone.
But what I can tell you is this, that when you do not exercise, you have different cells in the body that helps with bone formation. We call it, don't worry. So there are different things in the body. Now, as you grow older, the cells that help you to develop bone or to mature your bones, they tend to work lesser. You see something that maybe you find, maybe it's a young person, maybe your grandchild or something, and in 2 years you find the child and the child is all grown up. Yeah, it's because the bone forming cells are very active. But as you grow older, your bone forming cells go lower. So what you need to do is to exercise. But when you're not exercising the bones by giving it weight to lift,
are you drinking certain things?
Yes. So as I said, from my own profession, where I understand things like arthritis and osteoporosis and those bone problems comes from you not doing any weight-bearing exercises. Okay, not really from the nutrition point of view. So I'm sure maybe a nutritionist or a doctor will be able to explain that aspect. But for me, it is when you do not perform weight-bearing exercises that you begin to have that. And I tell this to women, they go into the gym or they are in their home, they don't want to do anything that has to do with weights. And they say, oh, I'm going to build muscle. What you're doing is that you are calling arthritis to come faster. Because there's no other way to pursue arthritis away than for you to develop your bones.
Joel.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of women have knee issues.
Do you know why?
Yes, I want to know why.
Yeah,
and what can we do about it?
Fantastic. So first of all, one of the problems is it's like you're trying to solve something that's already a problem. So the main issue is that the knee is the weakest joint in the body. That's number one. So it's not only women that have this problem, also men. The minute you are big on the top, you're going to put in a lot of pressure here. And if I see a lot of women doing things like skipping, jumping, all those high impact exercises, they put a lot of pressure on your knees. Now, should you do those exercises? Yes, but there's a certain amount that you should do, and you shouldn't do more than that number. So for women who have that, the first thing is to go to see a physiotherapist. They should first check the condition of that knee. Now, having checked it, if it's fine and it can function, then you come to a professional and begin to do exercises that strengthen that joint. That's really what you want to do, exercise that strengthen the joint. Not to then start doing exercises like skipping. I talk to a lot of women, that is what puts them in trouble. Or loads of wrong squats. Remember the last time I was here, I showed you how to do the right squats. Or getting...
But she wasn't here, so you may have to show her.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But my point is, or even getting on a stationary bike in your home, and it's not on the right angle. You have not placed the seat where it's supposed to be. So there are many things that people go into gyms and they get discouraged because they come back and they have these injuries in different places, or the injuries are not making them do the workouts. So you will need to do that. So what I would advise is, if you have that knee problem, talk to a physiotherapist. From there, get some knee support, and do exercises that are not weight bearing, meaning that there's no impact upon your knee. There are many you can do.
Walking.
Thank you very much. Swimming. Even just playing table tennis, but in a not jumping over the place like a professional, obviously. So there are many things that we can do that we don't have to put so much pressure on the knee, so that it doesn't become something that it becomes a problem as we grow older. We need those knees as we grow older, I tell you.
Well, I cannot but agree with you. But just a quick one,
yes.
As we close now. What are those things that, especially for old elderly people,
okay,
gentle exercises that they can do? People who are active at work, leave home early, come back late, but during this Yuletide, when offices close, maybe on Friday of this week, they, as you said, they're going to relax.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of those gentle movements that they need to do? Is there a specific time that they need to get into?
Okay. So permit me, because the mother of exercise is nutrition. So let me say that if you do not watch what you eat, it doesn't matter what I tell you right now, it won't do you so much good. There's a measure of good it will do you, but not so much. So let me just say this. So during this season, please look for things that are alive and are colorful to eat. Fruits are alive.
When you say alive, it sounds like
I know. The idea is to... Yeah, so...
Thank you.
Yeah, well, fish is alive, but ensure that it is roasted.
Dead before...
Ensure it is roasted, smoked, things like that. My point really is do that. But more importantly is that do exercises that you enjoy during this season. The reason why I'm saying that is I can't just tell you what to do without knowing your peculiarities.
Okay. Consultation.
Yes. So no, it's just the fact. So if, for instance, you have a table tennis in your home, or there is a sports center in your estate, those things will inform what I can say to you that you should do. But hey, take walks. If you're strong enough, take some dog and try to work out every day, and that will help you during this season. But more importantly, watch what you eat. I've told you about the drinks. I've told you about eat colorful food. If you do not do that, even if you spend 5 hours, trying to do something,
we have to go.
Yeah,
because you have spent enough today.
Fitness consultant Joel Uzamere, who is director, Institute of Registered Exercise Professionals. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for coming to point us in the right direction this Christmas
when we resume
season.
next year, you're coming to guide us.
When we have finished eating all the junk and we want to know how to get rid of it.
Okay, I'll be here.
See you in just a moment with the home stretch. Oh, God.
you comment your reserve.
No, he's already told me that his mother is tired, so his mother has given up.
Our guest is, of course, as you can see right there, Bayegun Oluwatoyin, popularly known as Woli Arole.
If you told me Bayegun Oluwatoyin, I say, never heard of it.
It's the same thing as Sako.
Never heard of it.
Do you even know his name? Do you know his name is Ayo? Sako's name is Ayo. This one.
If you say
Woli Arole.
my hair.
Bayegun Oluwatoyin.
Talonjebe. Don't know him. Never heard of him.
You even Google his name, you may not find it. But Woli Arole,
Thank you
the prophet.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Mama the mama.
The prophet.
I know you're in the spirit. And I saw some things about you. Yeah, I saw it. Thank you, Father. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
Your husband is a man.
No, I don't want to marry a husband who is a woman. Oh my God.
I comment my reserve.
Thank you, sir.
Oh God. This my husband is a man. No, my husband should be a woman.
Well, I have noticed, first of all, so I didn't know that you now had a partner in Sapa.
Sir, that's why we need to watch and pray. I didn't see directly. I would have seen who is that guy beside me. That's it. Prophet must be watching, guarding. It's called spiritual guarding. Yes. Even when people come to meet me, I'm not the prophet. I refer them to another church. I know what I can handle for security reasons.
What has security got to do with Jesus Christ? God.
That's it.
I just.
What is it again?
All of us, we are here. That's it. It's weekend and it's December.
All of us, we are here. It's weekend.
Always like, what's wrong with you? That's why you have brought me here. That's it. You look good, man. I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're aging in grace, and I'm proud of you too. It's my spiritual son. He has never said on his head.
Oh,
they won't watch
your spiritual son.
Of course. Proud of you.
Yes, sir.
The man you have become.
Thank you, sir.
Wala no gbà.
Ami, sir.
What's how you're gone?
Ami, sir.
Yeah, then thank you. You know me, don't you? Come just look me.
Okay.
I
have seen that. Exactly. I mean, in recent time, you've been to the UK a few times in recent time.
Oh yeah.
Is it the call of?
Of Woliship.
Everywhere is for the Lord.
You
understand? And I realized that the ministry needs to move.
It's now moving around the world.
Thank you. Oh my God. So it's a global vision.
Global.
You understand? It's global. My calling is not local. I was not called on a phone call. It's not text message.
It was not a missed call.
You will make it. No, because he's in spirit with me. So London, let's see what's happening. Then, the ministry is being accepted in the UK. From there, we move to Canada. You understand? From there, we move to America. We're going around the world.
Then we move to Europe.
Oh, man. You're going to join the women's my ministry. Elderly. You are so much in
the women's...
Kini.
That's the fellowship of women. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, so is Sapa also in London or any of those countries?
It depends on your area.
Yeah.
Peckham has been Sapa-liced. I don't know. Oh God. This one is just laughing. Yes. It's like, but then this program.
Can you believe that this boy is a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University?
Of the greatest Bagba!
Hey, so you're making
Sorry,
noise.
I don't know that. Because
prophets cannot be shouting like that.
Oh, I just got back. I'm mixing global.
He just got back from England, from London.
London, man.
From Peckham.
No, I think Sapa is Peckham.
Okay, what's your area?
I stay in the highbrow area. We talk of Kent. The place of a bit of a... You see, Sapa to our area is just like 2 train stop. So we are...
No, what did you study?
So I studied psychology. So I entered in for... I'm one of those that
It's not what we entered in for that we came out with.
So you entered
with biochemistry.
Okay, so what you ordered versus what you got?
So you miswrote.
When I saw my GP, I had BP. No joke. So I had BP at 21. No, by my GP. No joke. When I saw it, I knew. There was when my prophetic ministry started. I heard the voice that
the voice
told me, cross, my son. You need to cross, or else they will cross you. So I finished with psychology.
So how did psychology now? Okay, is it the core in psychology that brings core medi or psychomedy or what? Which one is it?
I love that. I've been funny from even before I got to uni. When I'm with my parents, I will crack them up. My elder brother, same. The child say, God, my mom was one of those that say, Lord, please let this boy get admission. Let him be admitted.
Maybe he will become serious.
When I now enter university, my father, my Lord.
That was when the madness really manifested.
My vice chancellor knew me. My lecturers knew me. Students knew me. Those that were selling knew me. You can't be around me and say you are not lively care. What's your...
Okay, we have talked about 3 main things today.
Yeah.
So we're going to take you up on each one of them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
The first one was on cash withdrawal policy.
That's quite painful. Oh, I saw it.
You want to draw more than 100,000 a week.
So how do people sow into my ministry? That's it.
They will sow by transfer.
No, now even by transfer, we might want to have ministry work now. 100,000 limit, ma.
In a week.
They will do 100,000 this week.
I'm seeing it prophetically to be reversed. Yeah, we are the prophet of the nation.
Prophet.
So how does it affect you as a prophet?
Yes, sir. We spend money as a prophet. I don't spend this.
Yes, you can transfer.
Okay, after transfer, sir, I want to withdraw. We have daily activity. Okay, I want to buy anointing oil. I want to buy things. I want to ministry work.
Anointing oil.
His family is just laughing.
You want to buy anointing oil.
So how much is anointing oil per day? Per day, you can withdraw up to 20,000 naira.
It depends on the purpose of the anointing oil. What if I want to use anointing oil to fry plantain? It's called anointing. Yes. I'm telling you, we have upgraded. Mommy, I'm sorry for the guest you brought. Mommy just like, shit. Oh, but that is all for me.
But that cash withdrawal policy came after the change of the naira.
So why did they change naira? I want to ask you, sir. Because why did they change naira?
It's my job to ask the question.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't even know why they changed naira. Is that change or they colored it?
It's changed. Whether it's...
Which color? Mommy, have you seen the new naira?
They say it's Robin Blue they used.
I don't know.
But so you don't have any problem with it?
I have. Why? That's not my.
He says that people will not sow into his ministry.
That's it.
Transfer.
It's
cash. They
transfer
want.
kidney flow of kidney.
It's cash they'll use to
cash
sow.
And you will?
I want Woli now.
Association of Prophets.
Yeah. That WhatsApp group.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah.
Who are the members?
Myself, other prophet that God has called.
Sakpa.
Sakpa is not there. Sakpa is not there. I don't know Kobe is there. Also a fellow prophet. I have Alifet, also a fellow prophet. Dakwa, also a fellow. Well, we're growing. You don't know what's happening. Something will hit this nation.
And is Woli Agba also?
Very good. This is one of our admin members. But remote, one of us.
So wait.
Evangelist Sakpa is one of us.
Sakpa Alabi?
No, but Evangelist Sakpa Alabi is one of us. So we have people. Mommy, we are. An army is rising.
An army is rising.
An army of prophets.
So what was that competition you did with Woli Agba? Woli Agba. Arole. Is that me? Is that to say that he is the Agba prophet?
We are friends. He's my good, very hilarious guy. Absolutely. I value him, respect his craft. Him and Dele. No, absolutely, absolute guy. Very super funny. Funny delivery. When you came together, you also came to meet me. And I said, don't be too local. UK is different, fam. Even the way we pray there is different, man.
E.g. So what's the
how do you pray there, please?
You will make it, man. You will reap the fruit of your labor. See, your children will love you, man. I realize that in Nigeria, the way they praise, no aggression. Watch me. Lord, that's UK prayer. Lord Jesus, I want to thank you. Holy Spirit, thank you so much.
Even in Peckham.
Apecamon is a bit different. Nigeria have invaded that place. So you hear something like this. Holy Spirit, chop, knuckle, I love you, God, I love angels, build with me, Oton. Mommy, Nigerian prayer. You know what I'm saying. If they have not screamed, they have not gesticulate, and they use syllables. Yeah, yeah. And got shocked. Oh, not do money. And the way they would say, Jesus, Joe. Okay, imagine you are the Jesus they are calling. So Jesus has come. Okay, kilo fe.
Okay, so that's you and tell us about that experience.
Oh, great! We went to shoot at the high PM stuff. Fantastic. No, me and him used to have counter a lot. He say he's the senior prophet. I say, who called you? When were you called? Were you really called?
Who called you?
Or was it a missed call?
God called me, man. With signs and wonders.
With
Spirit. Oh God.
What did he use?
Yeah, spirit to spirit.
Spirit. Okay.
To
Deep
spirit.
collect
So
onto the
when
deep.
he called you, you heard it.
Must feel it. Oh, mommy, oh God, what can I give for Christmas? Because you are making me excited. I've gone for a lot of TV programs. They are not in spirit. You are in spirit. John Okobi, one of my, you came here with me. We'll arrange something for you. I'll give you Dodo Ikire Shegun. Now, what is Dodo Ikire? Oh my God, this one.
Okay, what's Dodo Ikire Shegun?
Thank you. It's a breakthrough Dodo Ikire. You just hit it. I do for a year. Yeah, I did one for Joe Biden. You know, a lot of things.
That's how he won. That's why he won. You sent him Dodokire.
Ishegun.
Okay.
I'm like, damn it.
Which other people have you helped like that?
Check now.
I'm going to be number 4.
Mommy, check on that. Pray for a lot of people. Oxley, then Woli, Ashake. Pray for him. Woli. A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, remote. Oh my, global. Our bar kings.
Which of them?
Onafife.
So I'm now in good.
You prayed for the only.
Not only prayer. I'm just asking. No.
Because he's probably watching now and just.
Yes, I'm his prophet. Yeah, but I do respect. But
not only
you will make mommy. Oh Lord, what's this mommy's? Oh damn it, they like mommy.
Alero Edu is her name. Are you seeing the glory already?
You are full of glory.
Amen.
Mommy, glory is you glory your children.
Amen.
Good mommy.
What's
Amen.
the size of the?
Unlimited. We used to use gig before. I think we're metaverse. Mommy, or good thing.
Metaverse.
Yeah, metaverse glory.
Yes.
So that for people to even see my low glass, to run channel, it's called shine. Oh God damn it. Monriv channel I'm seeing things. Oh God. I'm too much in the spirit.
And anybody would think that this is a real prophet.
It's a real prophet.
It's a real prophet.
Fake. It's going to give me a heart attack.
Now, 20. Okay, another topic we talked about. Safe travels.
Yeah, I heard it. Please, people should drive safe. It's Christmas. Sherry, from January, God has kept you till December. Drive safe. I heard it. They've told you the speed limit. Because if you don't rush, don't bother. Christ is still coming, so don't rush to go and meet him. Drive safely. Don't be in a hurry.
He's coming.
Please. Just. I heard it. I watch everything.
And they have also warned you as well what to eat and what the exercising and everything.
I heard it. Very important. Yeah.
What kind of exercises do you do?
Oh, thank you. I play table tennis. Those that don't know, yeah. Oh, I'm good. No. I play. Mom, I played level.
In the spirit or in the physical?
Physical. I'm serious. That's my hobby. I play table tennis and I swim. Can't you say I'm healthy? No. That's it. Look, I'm trendy. Shankolo prophet. That's something shankolistic. That's not too much. I watch what I eat and I fast a lot.
Okay.
No jokes, I do it.
Oh, you have to fast so you can see the visions.
Oh, yes. Then fruit, like you said, fruit is my thing.
Okay.
Because there's some food that when you eat it too much, it's not really good for you.
It's just that one doesn't even know when you are serious and when you are joking.
Yeah, I'm swish. They call me the swish. Prophet of swish.
Prophet of swish.
You want me to work? Emma shouldn't be out on that TV. Even people watching at home, some people are laughing.
World Cup is on, so you are.
Yeah, I've seen it now.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
It would be as if my accuracy is too much.
Who?
Okay, let me explain it to you. Emma, get it. See, the winner of the World Cup. Thank you, Father. Emma, go. People want to get. People want to play the game. Listen, I'll help you. Now, the people that will win is one team, not two. Listen.
Oh, Debbie.
Yes, go on.
I love Daddy. Now, number 2, Temafimo. The team that will win the World Cup, they will score a goal. Or they will score. It will be the match cannot end in goalless. Like
Oh, see.
Go on. Next.
And then they will win.
Mommy, and they will carry the cup. Tomorrow, Sherry. Accurate.
The same way that my husband is a man.
My son, not your true. Mommy, now I made this clothes. I'm also a fashion designer. Yeah.
Woli, you are giving me a headache.
Sorry, ma.
Please. You are giving
You don't want to pray for her. You just said sorry like that.
Look at what you wore. Big more come wash. So this is the male version. Yes, made by the prophet. Because I'm fashionable. I should go munshi. So I said, let me wear something.
Holy clothes, Abi.
Yeah, very that will cover you, look good. Look at what that's what I'm saying. But my yes, look at how mommy dressed now. Fashionable, modest. This it man. More love me. Maurice, you're a good woman. You too, you're a good man. Keep it up.
Not down.
Up. Okay, you're going global. Then let me just tell you this. I've also, because by His grace, I travel a lot. Because I see you work a lot. I'll try to find a way to get ticket for you just to travel.
To where? Sapa, London.
No Sapa, maybe Osun State. Ikire.
Ikire to go and Idodo Kire.
Don't say too much.
Arole, you are coming here next week. By the way, we should talk about.
This is Riaza.
DSS on the 24th. Next Saturday, guys.
DSS has arrested you too. December Sunrise Special.
Oh, damn. Glory, we arrest you. Prosperity, we arrest you.
Amen.
Because when you are arrested with prosperity, that's we are with prosperity. You are inside it.
And you know that Ali Baba is co-host.
It's my son. You say me, I will. Ali Baba comedy. Talo one industry too. Spiritual Omo Mimi. I told him Ali. It was Ali before. Hallelujah. I said add Baba to the name. Me sort of to public now. No,
somebody also told me that when it comes to going to Orioke, even the 10th floor of a hotel is Orioke.
No, I go to Orioke in Ojo. Yeah, people know I do bring prayers. So Ali will tell you, mommy, on the 24th.
That's next week Saturday.
By God's grace, we shall be here.
I'm going to be here.
Oh yes. Oh, you are going to bring anointing oil for her.
Madam, you'll be shocked. Special anima. Baba Debo is a double portion. Agba 19. Baba Yedeko. Once in Shilo. Agba 19. The Covenant Highway. Mama pray for it. I pray. Miracle happen. 24th.
That's next week Saturday.
Animo born B. At least my son. I'm proud of him.
24th of December. We're having a December Sunrise Special.
DSS.
And we have arrested a lot of people.
Yes.
Including Woli.
Yeah.
Ali Baba
is hosting. If Bakasi is in town, he'll be here. Aproko, Kevin Sapp, Forever. I hope you'll be able to make it. Boys Olorun.
Oh, yes.
He was coming. There's this guy, Larry J.
Yeah, all of them are my sons. Larry Wapelum in London, show me now. Boys Olorun, I don't pray for Domin Shakpala.
It's time to go.
Even Channel is my station. I'm praying for Channel.
If you want to pray for the chairman.
No.
So, wait. Just wait. Let's sign off there. You can close with the... Thank you very much for being a part of this program today. Bayegun Oluwatoyin, or popularly known as Woli Arole.
I love how you call me.
And don't forget, we're having a very special Christmas edition next Saturday. We hope that you will join us. I am Alera Edu, wishing you a happy week until next week when I shall wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yeah. And Amayo Makide, just be here so that you can receive prayers from the prophets. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
I love you.